All right, let's get right into it. If you're gunning for a spot at a top-tier UK university to study something like computer science, economics, or mathematics, you've probably heard whispers about the TMUA. It's got this reputation, right? A totally terrifying, high-pressure math test. But here is the secret, it's actually just a strategic game. And like any game, it can absolutely be beaten if you're armed with the ultimate playbook. So today in this explainer, we're going to break down that exact playbook and show you exactly how to conquer the test of mathematics for university admission.
Now, the TMUA is administered by the official University Admissions Tests UK organization. Why does this matter to you? Well, because passing through this specific gateway is literally your ticket into some of the most highly competitive STEM programs in the entire world. Make no mistake, this is not just another high school math test. It's a highly standardized hurdle, and it's specifically designed to test how cleverly you can apply your knowledge when you are under extreme pressure. So, here's the game plan for today. 1. The TMUA explained. 2. Paper 1 versus Paper 2. 3. What actually is a good score? 4. Avoiding common exam traps. And 5. Winning strategies and tactics. Let's jump in.
Starting off with Section 1, the TMUA explained.
First things first, you need to know if you actually even have to take this exam. The TMUA is a hard requirement for highly competitive courses, think computer science and economics at Cambridge, plus a whole bunch of STEM and economics programs at Imperial College London, LSE, Warwick, UCL, and Durham. It's really important to differentiate your path here, though. If you want to study pure mathematics at Cambridge, you need to take the STEP exam. If you're looking at math or computer science at Oxford, you'll take the MAT. But for computer science, economics, and broader STEM at these specific elite institutions, the TMUA is your primary battlefield. 3 minutes and 45 seconds. That's it. That is the average time you have to complete each multiple-choice question on this exam. The whole test is 2 hours and 30 minutes long, and it's split into 2 papers of 20 questions each. Oh, and one more tiny detail. You can't use a calculator. No way. No formulas booklet, no dictionary. You are relying 100% on your mental arithmetic and your rapid problem-solving skills to beat that clock.
Moving right along to Section 2, Paper 1 versus Paper 2.
So, there's actually a pretty heavy contrast between these two papers. Yes, both are 75 minutes long, and both have 20 multiple-choice questions testing the exact same syllabus, but they test fundamentally different cognitive skills. Paper 1 is what we like to call the sprint. It's all about the rapid application of known mathematical methods. We're talking polynomial integration, finding stationary points, quick pattern recognition. It demands serious computational speed. Now, Paper 2, on the other hand, is the deep logic. This one introduces formal logical concepts you might not have seen much in your standard A-level courses. You've got to deal with phrasing like necessary and sufficient, for all, and there exists. You'll be analyzing mathematical proofs, spotting sneaky errors in logical arguments, and deducing implications. It is a completely different mindset. You aren't just calculating anymore, you are actively validating logic.
Which brings us to Section 3. What is a good score?
Okay, so your final result isn't just a flat percentage. It gets converted to a standardized scale from 1.0 to 9.0, reported to 1 decimal place. Let's break this down. If you get 36 to 40 questions right out of the total 40, you are hitting the absolute top band, a perfect 9.0. Getting around 33 to 35 correct lands you in that elite 8.0 to 8.5 range. 30 correct answers, that'll secure you a 7.5 to 8.0. And if you score less than 14, you fall below a 4.0. Now keep in mind, this scale can shift slightly every single year, depending on how difficult the test is, but this gives you a really solid, concrete target to aim for during your practice runs.
And here's why those specific numbers matter so much. If you're targeting a powerhouse institution like Cambridge, the typical expectation is a score of 6.5 or higher just to even be considered for an interview. And to really stand out and grab a highly competitive edge, you're looking at successful applicants scoring 7.0 or above. Think about what that actually means based on the scoring scale we just looked at. To hit a 7.0 or higher, you generally need to answer at least 26 to 28 questions correctly, meaning you can only afford a handful of mistakes across both papers. Just 3 careless calculation errors could drop your score by 0.2 or 0.3 points on the scale, which could literally push you below that competitive threshold. Every single mark is precious.
Let's pivot to Section 4, avoiding common exam traps. This is where it gets really psychological. I absolutely love this quote from our source material. Listen to this. The examiners are particularly devious. They put a great deal of work into anticipating the common errors students might make. This is absolutely vital to understand. Because the TMUA is multiple choice, it is so easy to get complacent. You know the feeling. You make a tiny algebra slip, you look at the options, you see your incorrect answer sitting right there, and you confidently select it. Boom, trap sprung. The test makers intentionally put the results of common mistakes right there in the options to bait you.
Let's look at a textbook example of this, the dreaded division by zero trap. Imagine you're solving an equation. Let's say x times x minus 3 equals 2x. It is incredibly tempting to just divide both sides by x, right? Leaving you with x minus 3 equals 2, so x equals 5, done. But you've just fallen straight into the trap. You totally miss the fact that x equals 0 is also a valid solution, because 0 times anything is 0. To avoid this, you need a very systematic checking procedure. Step 1. Always factor equations completely instead of just dividing out variables. Step 2. Check if any of those factors equal 0 to find your additional valid solutions. And step 3. Always substitute your final answers back into the original equation to verify. This procedure right here is how you stop throwing away easy marks.
And honestly, that's just one trap. Here are a few other devastating high-frequency traps that you need to be hypervigilant about. First up, sign errors in quadratic inequality analysis. Do not rely on mental math here. Draw a quick sign chart or graph so you can clearly see where the expression is positive or negative. Second, extraneous solutions. If you square an equation or use logarithms, you might accidentally create a mathematical solution that doesn't actually fit the original problem. Always plug it back in. Third, forgetting the chain rule when differentiating composite functions. Happens all the time. And finally, just simply misreading the question. The test absolutely loves to ask which statement is always true, never true, or not true. If you rush through those words, I guarantee you'll select the wrong bait.
Let's wrap up the content with Section 5. Winning strategies and tactics. I'm a massive fan of this first tactic. It's called wishful thinking. Look, the TMUA isn't testing university-level math. It only requires AS-level and first-year A-level content. That means every single question on that paper was explicitly designed by an examiner to be completely solvable by a good Year 13 student in about 3 or 4 minutes. So if a problem looks impossibly complicated, or it seems to require methods way outside the syllabus unless something completely miraculous happens, well, you can bet on the fact that the miraculous cancellation or simplification is going to happen. You've got to have the confidence to push through messy algebra, trusting that the test makers actually built a clean path for you to find.
Next tactic, think graphically. Seriously, the examiners have a massive bias toward graphical reasoning. You are frequently going to encounter equations that are a total nightmare or honestly even impossible to solve algebraically. But if you just quickly sketch the graphs of the two functions, you can instantly see the number of intersections or the behavior of the roots. Getting into the habit of translating algebraic problems into quick visual sketches is an absolute superpower on this exam.
So, to bring all this together, here are your absolute golden rules for the exam. Number 1. Remember that questions are not strictly in order of difficulty. Do not sink 15 minutes into question number 3. Scan the paper, skip the monsters, and secure your easy wins first. Number 2. Use the multiple choice format to your advantage. Sometimes the fastest way to solve a problem isn't actually to calculate the answer from scratch, but to use counterexamples to systematically eliminate the wrong options until only the truth remains. And finally, the single most important rule: there is absolutely no penalty for incorrect answers. Never, ever leave a question blank. If that clock is running out, guess strategically.
So the bottom line is this: you now understand the battlefield, you know the scoring, you see the psychological traps, and you have the elite tactics required to win. But, knowledge is really only the first step. The TMUA ultimately tests your mental reflexes under pressure. So now that you've got the strategic playbook, how are you going to adapt your daily study habits, your mental math practice, and your mock exam reviews to dodge those traps and truly conquer the TMUA? It's time to get out there, start practicing, and take total control of your score. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy studying.
Not sure if you are TMUA ready? Take a free diagnostic test on Edrizz and find out exactly where you stand.